Alright, welcome to my first YouTube live. If you are just a beginner, if you're just joining or just interested in Procreate digital illustration basics, then this live feed is for you. We have some tunes going on in the background. It's a Saturday afternoon and we are just trying to sort of get started here on this stream today. We will be creating a simple character illustration which is made up of basic shapes and just basic colors, nothing too advanced going on here. So let's get started. As you will see, I already have my Procreate app open here. I'll open my color palette so you can see I have some of the colors that I intend on using already open on the right hand side. We will be using mostly pastel and neutral colors to go alongside. I have a color selected here for the background, and the rest will be for our character that we will soon make. So I will close the color palette here, and the first thing to do is to open up our settings and turn on the drawing guide, since that is immensely helpful, especially if you're a new beginner. I know it helps me get my lines really straight, and that is super useful for me. So let's dive right in. The size of the canvas here is the same as the screen size. I have just zoomed out. You can zoom in or zoom out as much as you want or are comfortable with. You will see me zooming in and out of the canvas throughout my drawing process, and you don't have to follow the same routine, just follow whatever comes to you naturally, I would say. So on the right hand side, you will see, as I've shown you, it's our color palette. This is our layers menu. As you can see, there's just a background color layer and just one new layer. I'm yet to create more layers. This is our eraser tool. This is our brush tool, and this is our smudge tool. We will not be using the smudge tool as much for this stream because this is just a very basic character illustration. Um, this is our tool, or our selection tool, that will sort of help us move and adjust as we create things. This is our selection tool, and this is our gallery menu. On the left, this helps us determine the size of the brush. The more I increase it, the bigger the size of the brush gets. And then this helps us determine the opacity of the brush as well. Now let's try and go to our brush tool and select a decent size. We already have our drawing guide on. So let's go in, select the background layer, and select the color that we are trying to use for our background layer. So this is what will be the color of our background. Now let's get started with the base of our character, or something that's gonna make for the hair and the beard of our character. So I'm gonna go ahead in my layers menu and select my new layer. Then I'm gonna go in my color palette, and I've used a dark navy blue color here. And as I said, the illustration is largely about basic shapes. So let's get started in terms of drawing a simple semicircle. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a straight line, just like that. And then I'm gonna zoom in a bit so I get a perfect semicircle. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a semicircle just like that. And then I can sort of adjust my semicircle. I'm not really happy with this, so I'm just gonna go ahead. I'll cancel this. You will see me tap twice or thrice. If you tap twice, that just undoes the action that you just did. And if you tap on 3 fingers, it redoes that action. So let's go and try that semicircle one more time. Okay, this is something I'm happy with. You can simply drag from your color palette onto your shape, and it's gonna fill that shape for you. We'll just go in and zoom in a little bit, and we'll go to the eraser tool, and we will just sort of refine the edges a bit more to my liking, so it comes out a wee bit perfect around the edges, just like that. Now we're gonna do the same thing for the other side as well. Let's try and define the edges just a bit more so our shape comes out perfect. Now this forms the base beard of our character. Now you might not be able to see it yet, but don't worry. Then I'm going to go in my layers menu again, and I will duplicate this layer. And I'm going to go ahead, select my tool, and then you will see a few other options here in this menu. I'm just going to flip this vertically, and I'm going to place it right so that it forms a circle. But then since we need this to be a bit more elongated, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on, since it's already selected here, I'm going to click on the freeform version, and I'm just going to elongate this a bit more. Okay, it's not, what's happening here? Okay, yep, I was selecting the wrong thing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make sure that this overlaps, and I'm gonna close this. So now this whole thing becomes one shape. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna merge my layers. You will start seeing that it will start coming together the more and more as you get into it. Then we are gonna add one more layer that's gonna go on top of our base layer, and this will make up for our face and facial features. On the right hand side, I'll open up the color panel again. I will select the color that I had in mind for my face. And then I'm going to zoom in, and we will start by drawing one more semicircle, something like this. And once we are happy with it, we can again draw a semicircle that's going to form our face. And once you're sort of happy with it, you can drag in. And once again, as we did in the previous step, we can go ahead and refine the edges just a wee bit. This does not have to be a perfect semicircle. This can also be something that has rounded edges as well, since it's a beard that is covering the face, and beards, as we know, are not always perfect. But we now have something that resembles our face within a beard. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead in our layers menu, click on the plus icon, and then we are going to start by creating our eyes. For this illustration, we will use the same color that we are using for our beard. You can either go in your colors menu and select the same blue, or if you want to save time, you can simply tap or long tap on this color, and it's going to select that color for your eyes. So we're gonna just go ahead, we're gonna make sure that we are working with a new layer, and we will start by drawing a big circle. And now this is not a perfect circle, as you can see, but you can tap on the screen and it's gonna create that shape for you. So I think that is something that I'm happy with in terms of the size and shape of the eyes, and I'm just gonna drop my color. Now I'm just gonna place it somewhere where the eyes and the face should be. And now here's a neat little trick. You don't always have to draw the same thing. You can simply go ahead, open your layers menu, swipe right and click on duplicate, and it's going to duplicate that layer for you. And then all you have to do is simply drag it across and place your eyes where they should be. I'm just going to adjust the left eye since I'm not really happy with where it is right now. There we go. Now, time to draw the eyebrows. Let's create a new layer that's gonna go on top. Zoom in a bit, and we can also increase the brush size, and we can simply go with something like this. Then, I'm just gonna duplicate my layer, hit select, and transform it horizontally and place it across. So there we have it. So now if I zoom out, we have something that is starting to resemble a face. Now we are not gonna draw a very complicated nose bridge, or nose for that matter. So let's stick with something that is very cartoonish, or that is something easy for beginners to draw. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select the same blue that I have on here. I'm in my new layer, and I'm just gonna go and draw a line just like that, and just like that. I'm gonna zoom in, and then I'm gonna draw a sort of a semicircle here, just like that. So now we have our nose. If you want to provide a little more detail, what you can also do is you can draw something like that, something of a half semicircle here, and you have something that now is starting to resemble a nose. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to decrease the brush size to what we had it originally, and I will add in some illustration details that you often see in flat illustrations. I'm going to select this color that I already have in my palette, and I'm going to make sure I'm in a new layer, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw a circle here. Again, once I'm happy with the size, I'm going to go ahead and drop my color. And now you can also start to add in a little bit more detail into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create what we call a clipping mask. And then I'm going to select a darker shade of red. And I'm just going to draw a few lines across so that they stay in the layer and not go outside. That's really one of the ways in which you can use the clipping mask, just like that. Once you're happy with it, you can just merge the two layers, and then I'm gonna go ahead and duplicate my layer and drag it across so that it's even from where it was before. And now, as you can see, we are starting to get our face in shape, pun intended. And then we are gonna make the mouth. Now we can either draw a regular mouth, but in this case I'm gonna draw a mouth that seems like the person's whistling or saying something. So we can go back, and I'm gonna go select this lighter purple that I had in mind. I'm gonna make sure that I'm on a new layer, and then I'm gonna make sure that this layer sits on top of our face layer, but underneath all of the facial features that we just created. So let's go ahead and draw our mouth. So usually when you whistle, your lips go to one side. So I'm just gonna go ahead and create a circle just like that. And I'm gonna tap so I have a perfect circle here. Now it does look like they're speaking something, but not quite whistling. So what we are gonna do is create another circle on the inside, just like that, and then fill the gap between the two circles, just like that. Now it seems like that person is either saying something or they're whistling, and it's not too big a mouth that they have. And similarly, what we are going to do is we are going to go behind our beard and hair layer and create another layer, so we are able to create the ears for this person. I'm gonna stick with the same color that I have selected, and in this layer I'm just gonna go ahead and draw a circle just like that, tap and reduce the size a bit, and I'm gonna go ahead and drag my color. I'm gonna adjust this a bit, just like that, and once again I'm gonna create a clipping mask for this layer, just because I want to add in a few more details, if you will. And go back to my disk and select a bit of a darker purple, and I'm just gonna draw something like that so it resembles an ear, probably something like that. Then once I'm happy, I'm gonna go ahead, merge my layers, and I'm also gonna go ahead and duplicate this just like some of the other layers we have. Hit horizontal transform and place it right across so that it matches the other ear. Now you don't have to be perfect on the first go, and that's what the grids are pretty much for. But at this stage, this is what our character looks like. Now it's time to draw one of the main defining features of our character, which is his hair. So we already have the background for it. What we are going to do now is merge all the layers together so that this all becomes one layer. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is create another layer and select long press and select the same color and start drawing a few circles. So something like that. I'm gonna tap, select the size, something like that. Then I'm gonna go ahead and create an even bigger circle, something like that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and create a circle which is roughly the same size as our previous circle, something like that. So it starts resembling hair, a bit of uneven hair, but that is pretty much what our illustration looks like. Now you can also go ahead and give a few more details. As an example, if you want this character to wear glasses, what I'm going to do is I'm going to long tap this color, but I'm going to select up even more darker, closer to black, so it stands out a bit. You can even go and select a lighter color if you wish. I'm just going to go ahead and select a slightly darker color. I'm going to make sure I merge my layers as well, and then I'm going to create a new layer. Once I create a new layer, I'm thinking I will give this character freakishly large glasses so it adds to that cartoonish touch. So I'm going to create a circle just like that, and then I'm going to adjust it to where I think it should be, something like that, close to the nose bridge, because that is where glasses rest. And then I'm just going to duplicate my layer and bring it close to the other side. And then what we can do is create a new layer and put it underneath the first two layers and just sort of create a connection between the two frames, and that's going to sit on top of our nose. So I'm just going to create sort of a half semicircle here, and then I'm going to create one more, something like that, and then I'm going to just fill in the space between. So now it looks like our character is wearing glasses. Now you can also add in a bit more detail. Say if you want these glasses to sort of come across as if they are being worn by a strap. So what you can also do is you can merge the three layers and create one more layer and place it underneath. And then you can sort of draw a string that goes across just like that. And then you can start adding detail like knots. So I'm just gonna draw circles here so that it starts resembling knots or patterns within what we just drew, the string that connects the glasses for our character, just like that. So you can draw it either at even spacing or you can draw it uneven. I like to keep it a bit uneven so it comes across a bit more natural, just like that. Yours doesn't have to be a perfect semicircle either, or a circle either, but I'm just gonna draw one, and I'm gonna make sure these circles differ in sizes as well, and just gonna make sure we fill in the color completely. And once you're sort of happy, you can sort of zoom out and go to your settings and turn off your So that is basically your character illustration, and hope you learned something. And if you enjoyed this, make sure to help the channel grow, drop a like, subscribe for more. Thank you so much for joining the feed.